What's going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal SpazPhoenix, the YWC Reality Check, back here again with road signs. Before I say anything else, let me just say to anybody that watches this channel that lives in Toronto or the Toronto area, I will be at the WWE Road to WrestleMania house show that is going to be in Toronto at Ricoh Coliseum this coming Friday. If anybody is going to the show, post your comments down in the box below, hey, what's up, I'm going to the show too. I think WWE uses the hashtag, I think it's just hashtag WWE Toronto. If by any stretch of the imagination, and I am not calling myself a celebrity in the least, but anybody that enjoys my videos that's going to be at the show, that sees me at the show, that wants to say hi, I'm not saying that I'm a big deal at all. Let me be perfectly clear about that. But let me also say that if you watch these videos and you see me at the show in Toronto this Friday and you want to come up and say hello, high five, or you want to come up and tell me that I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, I talk gibberish on this webcam for going on 2 years now. Either way, anybody that watches this that is in the Toronto vicinity or is going to the house show on Friday at Ricoh, I will be there. It will be good times, and for those of you that are not in the Toronto area, not in Ontario, not in Canada, not in North America, I will be posting pictures from the house show sometime on here after Friday, obviously. A couple more comments I want to make about my friends here in the YWC and how they talk some garbage sometimes. I'm not shitting on anybody individually, don't get me wrong. This is just generic patterns that I always notice leading up to WrestleMania. Now, what is the biggest criticism, or one of the biggest criticisms WWE gets, especially leading to a Big Four pay-per-view? There's no build, they haven't even started building, da-da-da-da. They've got all this time, and they waste all this time, and they put all the matches together last minute. And it's really, really, really not the case. I mean, we've already got, I think, 4 matches pretty much set in stone. We've pretty much known what the main event is going to be since the Royal Rumble. We've known what the World Heavyweight Championship match is going to be since the Elimination Chamber. We've had, stirrings of the other big matches since, the beginning of the year. So now, especially after this week's Raw, which I will get into as I go through my points here, after this week's Raw, we are well deeply sort of ensconced in the build, and now people can't wait to chomp at the bit and bitch about where we're going. So realistically, the people that are bitching, the people that bitch about there being no build are people that are running out of things to bitch about. So it's like, hurry up and give me a build to something so that I have something new to bitch about. So you really sort of lose the potency of your argument when it's pretty transparent and you're just looking for something else to complain about. So you don't have anything to complain about, so you complain about not having anything to complain about. That's a vicious circle, isn't it? And maybe, just maybe, you need to get over yourselves a little bit. The other thing that I love, and this is when everybody gets melodramatic, and I mean, even last year when I was deeply ensconced in my Scene-Apocalypse era on this channel, I was never arrogant enough to come out and lie to you guys. And a lot of people in the YWC do it. They're so pissed off they don't, WrestleMania is not going their way, so fuck it, I'm not watching WrestleMania. This is so bad, I'm not watching WrestleMania this year because it's supposed to be this big impactful thing. Let me call a bit of bullshit. If you're a if you're a big enough wrestling fan that you have strong enough opinions that you would try to go out there and make an angry statement like that, if you are that passionate about wrestling, there's no way you're not watching WrestleMania. So stop. Because the impact that you're trying to make just makes you look like a kid throwing a temper tantrum, and it's not anything productive, whereas you could just say, hey, I think this makes sense instead of this makes sense instead of this. You guys have seen me before. I didn't like it when Team Hell No were about to become the Tag Team Champions, and I came up here and I said, hey, here's 10 or so reasons why I don't think they should be the Tag Team Champions. When Rey Mysterio and The Miz were going to have their showdown at It was either Night of Champions or SummerSlam. Somebody will correct me down in the box below, I'm sure. And I came up immediately. 10 reasons why I don't think Rey Mysterio versus The Miz should happen. Now, not only did I do that, not only did I try to do it in a constructive way, I was surprisingly proven wrong. And I was happy to be proven wrong because it ended up being a fantastic match on both parts. I do like to do a lot of ribbing on The Miz. Pretty sure The Miz is Jack Swagger's dealer, but it was a good match nonetheless. Yeah, if you have a strong opinion about wrestling, if you have a strong enough opinion that you're going to try and put out this idea that you're boycotting WrestleMania because you think in your own delusional mind that it's going to make a damn bit of difference to the WWE, melodrama for the fail. That's all I'm going to say. Now on to happier things. After this week's Raw, we have a lot of trails pretty much in place, and some of this comes from reading the SmackDown spoilers, so I'm going to try and do this without spoiling SmackDown for the people that are going to be watching it on Friday. Now, as the WWE Universe, or the YWC Elite love, I'm going to start with my buddy The Miz. Oh yes I am. Miz, as it stands right now, basically has two different ways to go. On main event, they had him have this altercation with the Big Show that could be something, or they'll have him finalize his rivalry with the Antonio Cesaro. Now, Antonio Cesaro and The Miz are in this great match, feud, whatever, blah, 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 blah. Most people don't like it. I do, and I'm saying this, and, you know, I'm going to be as honest as I can with you guys, hand on heart and all that sort of thing. To the best that I can explain you, I'm a fan of this feud, not because I'm a Miz fan, although I am a Miz fan, that's a contributing factor for sure, but it's a legitimately good feud, and they've done a little something different each time. They've done, you know, Cesaro getting the bullshit endings, Miz getting the stronger victories when it counted, Miz getting his victories when the title wasn't on the line to build up frustration for the babyface. There's going to be a 2 out of 3 falls match on SmackDown, just saying, but they have progressed. You know, people bitched about, you know, the lack of progression in Big Show, Alberto Del Rio, for example. But, I mean, they've added something new every time. They had the match, that was a straight-up match on the pre-show. They had the match on the card, where both of them ended up with a respective injury, so there was a lot of psychological storytelling there, with Miz's shoulder and arm and with Cesaro's leg. They graduated to a street fight on Raw. They have a 2 out of 3 falls match on SmackDown coming up this Friday. You know, wherever they might go with this at WrestleMania, it will be a next step, and you will get that build that you claim to want. But because it's not somebody that the YWC is allowed to like, you know, nobody's going to give it any credit because The Miz is in it, and that's garbage as far as I'm concerned. Every time Cesaro gets in the ring with The Miz, Cesaro, who holds the least valuable title in the WWE, is going up against a guy that beat John Cena at WrestleMania. So it can only do good things for him, can it? And everybody, you know, the YWC Elite, as I like to say, you know, the smart ones, you know, the ones that have a good mind for the business, brother. You know, there's a shot for Eon Izzle, who I scared out of the YWC a long time ago. But they're the ones that are really, really behind Cesaro, and Miz does nothing but make Cesaro look good, doesn't he? So what the fuck do you have to complain about? Now, if he goes up against Antonio Cesaro at WrestleMania, Cesaro's the one being built, so Miz's streak at WrestleMania could be in danger. So I prefer, let's throw him in against the Big Show. No way the Big Show needs another win at WrestleMania. None whatsoever. The Miz, who's on this hard face turn, and the Big Show is a natural heel. I will say this, and I will say this wholeheartedly, with a little bit of bile in my system, because you guys know I don't really like the Big Show, but he's the easiest guy to book as a heel. You know, he's a bully, he's the bigger guy, he's the stronger guy, he's picking on guys smaller than him, because everybody's smaller than him. That's kind of his thing. Put him up against The Miz. It will be the way to solidify Miz's face turn in time for WWE to push the Marine 3 and do all their money making that way. So you've got Antonio Cesaro versus The Miz, which will only make Antonio Cesaro look better, or you've got Big Show versus The Miz, which could only do good things to boost Miz's face turn at WrestleMania. Now, it depends what they want to do. I mean, WWE themselves don't treat the US title with that much spectacle anymore, and you know, Big Show's a big guy, and in WWE bigger is better, so they're going to want him on the card somehow. It's a toss-up either way. One way Miz wins, the other way Miz loses, I know that much, but Antonio Cesaro versus The Miz, even though The Miz is going to job to Cesaro, will still be the better match. So that's what I'm throwing my weight behind at this point. Sheamus versus question mark. Now, we saw the build on Raw, or the beginnings of what could be the build for Sheamus Barrett. Now, you guys know me. Not a huge fan of Sheamus. I think he's the ginger John Cena. Once in a blue moon, if he's in the ring with the right guy, he can have a good match. Look at his matches over the title with Daniel Bryan this past year. Barrett is one of those guys that does a magical thing, and he does this magical thing called make Sheamus interesting. And every time they have a match, it's a great brawl. And that's, I don't want to say that's all it is, because Barrett does have more technique and more to offer than that, but they have the most, you know, the most rooted definition of a great brawl every time they get in the ring together. If they go through with this, this could be a great thing. It will elevate Wade Barrett because he's going up against a multiple-time world champion, or world and WWE champion, I should say, and it'll bring Sheamus down a peg, and I don't think that'll hurt either because, you know, the big stigma that hangs over Sheamus' head is that he was pushed way too fast, and they brought him back down and brought him back up as a face and da-da-da-da-da. So, to move Barrett up and bring Sheamus down are two things that I would really like to see. Now, could Sheamus at some point be a convincing Intercontinental Champion? Sure, but only if that means Wade Barrett's going to take his spot in the main event world title picture, which is also something I need to see. Also, there seem to be a lot of people that think Sheamus has to be involved with the Shield at WrestleMania. The Shield is not directly feuding with Sheamus, are they? The Shield, since their inception, yes, they've taken out John Cena, they've taken out Randy Orton, they've taken out Team Hell No, they've taken out The Rock, but really, every time they've actually had competition, it's been Ryback and fill in the blank versus the Shield. So the only person that we can pretty much guarantee will be involved with the Shield is Ryback, and I'm sorry, the Shield deserves better, first of all. But this idea that Sheamus somehow has to be involved with the Shield at WrestleMania, I don't buy it. I think him taking a step down and using that step down to elevate Wade Barrett would be a hell of a lot better use of his time. And like I say, former world champion, he could put Barrett over. He could put Barrett's Intercontinental title reign over. The other option there is Barrett with this old lion, young lion type of story that he's going on with Bo Dallas, but WWE seems to have pretty much dropped that flat, so can't exactly say it with a tear in my eye because Bo Dallas did not a lot to impress me to begin with. Moving on. We seem to be getting the seeds of Road Scholars versus R Boom, and I'm going to sneeze any second now. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Anyways, Road Scholars versus R Boom, two thrown together teams, and you know what? My faith in the tag team division right now is so dead because of Team Hell No. I'm just going to take this for what it is. I hope it's on the pre-show. Once again. Sorry, guys. This is the type of unedited, botch-filled, brilliant video making I do, as usual, at ridiculous o'clock in the morning. My head's been full of a cold for a couple of days now, which is why I haven't done this video until now. It's going to be a fun throwaway match. Kofi Kingston is good. R-Truth is entertaining. Sandow will probably get some good mic work in. Cody Rhodes might get some good mic work in. They might develop this Caitlyn and Cody Rhodes story a bit more, which I'm interested about. Again, look at SmackDown. But there won't be much to it, but it doesn't offend me too much. I don't like throwing together tag teams. I don't like R Boom. They were dead in the water the first time. I don't know why they've come back. Road Scholars, if they're going to stay as a team, should be the tag team champions, but that's just a pipe dream at this point, so put them in a fun throwaway match, put it on the pre-show, and it won't really hurt my feelings that much. Shield really has two options at this point. They have either Ryback and fill in the blank, and one of those blanks seems to be filled with Randy Orton at this point. They could really use Orton a lot better, but whatever. I would love to see them, at least Ambrose and Rollins, go for the tag team championships at WrestleMania. The whole story of how they annihilate everybody, blah, 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 blah. Hell No is having all their internal issues. Shield has the added backup of Roman Reigns standing in their corner, you know, being the Batista of the group. It's a great time and a great platform for a group that wants to show how dominant they are to take the tag team championships off of two guys that individually are multiple-time world champions. Just saying, if we just get another 3-on-3 for the sake of having Shield on the card, it'll be a little lackluster, but then again, Ryback is involved, so yeah. I will say one thing about Ryback, and that is that with a lot of help from Dolph Ziggler, he put on a really fun match on Raw this week. I shit on guys a lot on this channel. You guys know, the Super Family, Ryback, Sheamus, Rey Mysterio, John Cena, Kelly when she was around, etc., 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 etc. But I'd like to think that even though I can't stand these guys, I do give them credit where it's due. And it's going to happen again in this video. I'm letting you know that right now. But largely in part to the selling from Ziggler, the Ryback-Ziggler match this week on Raw was not the best match in the world, but it was a fun, entertaining match to watch. Now, I could get into the, again, the WWE Elite logic and, oh my god, we're going to analyze this to death until nobody can enjoy anything ever, and say that it doesn't make any sense that Ziggler is, you know, Money in the Bank, and he should be booked stronger than this, da-da-da-da-da. You know what? One instance in a bubble, on its own, one match. I liked it. It was fun, and it had Ryback in it, so it's a pleasant surprise. What else can I say? Speaking of Ziggler, Jericho and Ziggler, they can only be facing each other at WrestleMania, can't they? Because neither one of them have really had anything else booked for them. I mean, Jericho could go in there. He's the guy. He's the Shawn Michaels. He's the guy that can show up at WrestleMania, have a match with the broomstick, and make the broomstick look good. Ziggler's pretty much the same. So either keep him in the wings and have him cash in on the winner of Swagger versus Del Rio, or put him in a match with Jericho because you haven't booked him in anything else. That's all. Like, it's phenomenal to me that they've brought back a great, you know, future, you know, first ballot Hall of Famer like Chris Jericho, and don't have him set in any sort of storyline heading into WrestleMania, and that Mr. Money in the Bank, Dolph Ziggler, as great as he is, doesn't even have a sniff of a feud with anybody. I mean, he had his run-ins with Cena, he's had his run-ins with Punk, he's had his run-ins with whoever, but leading into this WrestleMania, where is he going? Where does his roadmap, if I want to be that cliche, take him? Don't know. Swagger Del Rio is gold. It just is. Swagger Del Rio is not gold because of anything Jack Swagger's done. Swagger Del Rio is gold because of the promos between Alberto Del Rio and Zeb Coulter. Let's be honest. Zeb Coulter is the one trying to infuse some interest in Jack Swagger. Jack Swagger is an idiot and got caught driving drunk with a car full of pot. As I say, probably got it from Ray. Just saying. But the only thing saving his career right now is that WWE is using him and Zeb against Glenn Beck. So Glenn Beck, you are an asshole. Not only are you an asshole, you are the reason that Jack Swagger still has a job. So you are not only an asshole bashing the WWE, you are partially ruining WrestleMania because somebody else deserves that spot. Oh yes, like I said before, it's the same as when Swagger was with Vicky Guerrero and Dolph Ziggler. His manager has more heat than him. He stands there looking like a fucking mongoloid, looking like what I've said before on Twitter, hashtag Vanilla Gorilla, and, you know, doing nothing. You know, he can sit there in the back corner while Zeb Coulter is talking and preach about weeding the people, but other than that, what's he doing? He got a bullshit victory over Randy Orton, which ruined a great exchange between Randy Orton and Chris Jericho at the Elimination Chamber, and racism and hot button issues and WWE proving that they can be somewhat, what's the word I'm looking for? That they can be somewhat provocative or somewhat run the edge of PG. WWE trying to prove that they can do a sketchy storyline is the only thing that has Jack Swagger anywhere near a belt. And that's bad. Right now, Zeb Coulter deserves a #1 contendership more than Jack Swagger, and that's bad. Now, that being said, I love the way WWE has used Zeb Coulter and Jack Swagger against Glenn Beck, and you know what? Glenn Beck's an idiot. I've watched the video. Anybody that gives a shit about wrestling sort of behind the scenes or beyond what you see on your television screen has seen the Glenn Beck clip, whatever, where he refers to all of us as idiots and we all must be morons to watch what we watch, etc., etc., etc. No doubt that Swagger is talented in the ring. Let me say that right off the bat. I don't like him. I don't give a fuck about him. But I will admit, wholeheartedly, as I always have, he has a great talent in the ring. So when all the bullshit and all the storyline and all the hype and racism and propaganda and all that is over, and Del Rio and he actually settle down and have a match, it'll be a good match. I have no qualms about that whatsoever. Alberto Del Rio pulling up, especially bouncing off of this racist storyline and building up sort of the patriotic, you know, proud of being Mexican but proud to be an American as well. All those positive emotions coming out of Alberto Del Rio is fantastic. So when Del Rio and Swagger hit the ring, I have no doubt that it will be a great match, but it will be a great match that I don't care about because the guy that I care about on the other side of the ring is the manager, not the superstar, and that's bad, isn't it? Moving on. Triple H versus Lesnar, and holy Christ, this is good. This is really good. It was simple. Vince versus Heyman. Brock comes out. Triple H comes out. Still looks funny with the shaved head, but, you know, whatever. Came in, everybody's talking about, oh, there was a damp spot on his pants, he looked like he pissed himself, Never mind that. Take away from that. Take away from the fact that they had a great brawl to start Raw. Heyman and McMahon, two of, you know, out of people that are not wrestlers, two of the most controversial people to ever pick up a microphone. So they're going to go at it. Heyman gets more heel heat by going after a crippled McMahon. McMahon gets face pop for fighting back even though he's got a fucked up hip or whatever else he's done. You know, they hit each other with crutches, blah, 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 blah. Instant backstory. Triple H and Lesnar fight, you know, for their respective people, da-da-da-da-da. Mishap, Brock Lesnar gets the back of his head busted open. WWE proceeds to fail at awkward filming to try and not show the blood, which I don't know whether that was just us here in Canada or whether that was effective all around the world, but it was weird watching the WWE cameras try to not film the blood going to the non-bleeding side of his head for a lot of it, you know, not even showing his head, showing just like body shots and... Very, very weird, but it was a nice brawl, and I'm sorry, I've seen the pictures of the staples in Brock Lesnar's head, and for him to get that, you know, early on in the brawl and still brawl on for another 2 or 3 minutes, no matter what you can say about Brock Lesnar, in that moment he showed himself as a great showman to keep going with what was going on, rather than, you know, running to the back like a bitch, you know, I've got a little hole in the back of my head, can somebody fix this, please? What else can I say? What else can I say? The story's already there. Like I say, Heyman has attacked Triple H's family, is like verbally attacked his kids, verbally attacked his wife. Triple H got his arm broken twice, kayfabe-wise, had his best friend Shawn Michaels beaten up. You know, he's seen his father-in-law destroyed by the monster Brock Lesnar. The entire story is there, and the fact that Triple H is, you know, came off of SummerSlam, the Perfect Storm, which I think was still the lamest name for a match ever, came out of that, doubted himself, disappeared for a while, and now he's got this renewed confidence. This, not John Cena, this is the closest thing to a redemption story going into this year's WrestleMania, and I like it, and it works, because there's intensity from Triple H. There's not a lot of people... This is what I give Triple H. There's not a lot of people in the WWE currently. You know, you take out Shawn Michaels, you take out Edge, who were the last couple of big names to leave the company, leave the organization, leave the sports entertainment realm, and you don't have a lot of people left that can generate the kind of intensity that Triple H does. And Brock Lesnar, whether I like him or not, and there's times that I like him and times that I don't, is a physically imposing, physically intense presence, and that's why it works. Yes, we've seen it once before. I'm really hoping that it's better, because SummerSlam was kind of a letdown. I'm hoping that this will be the hardcore match of the night, if that makes sense, because if these guys can just go at it and have a straight-up brawl like they had on Raw, I'm willing to pay for that. You know what I mean? I'm willing to sign on for that idea. I don't know what else to say. It'll be good. I'm really hoping they pull off some storyline where, you know, Heyman's in Lesnar's corner and Vince is in Triple H's corner. Not because I want to see those two fight, because they're not wrestlers, but if they're both motivating their respective guys, it'll add another element to the match. If they come down to the ring like before, pretending it's an MMA match, and they have the spotlights and the different style of announcing, that was lame. That was one of the things that made SummerSlam really lame, if I'm honest. But if they can do this, if they can have a proper brawl with those two respective guys behind them, I think this could be one of the matches that steals the show, if I'm honest. Rock and Cena. Rock and Cena. Here we go. And here's where I say for the second time in this video, I don't like John Cena, but I will try to give him credit where it's due. The match they had on Raw, people are saying it, and I will sign on to it wholeheartedly. Match of the year so far on Raw. Everything we wanted to see and more. We got the pile driver, the proper spike pile driver, which we haven't seen in forever. We had the, Cena doing the Batista bomb, which is funny if we go back to all the rivalries between Cena and Batista. We had crossfaces, we had STFs, we had Anaconda Vice, we had, I think, 2 attitude adjustments to put away CM Punk at the end. We had the GTS, we had a whole bunch of, you know, we had counter wrestling from John Cena. The greatest? No. But let's be realistic here. For what we usually expect from John Cena, it was a lot better. And no, I'm not a hypocrite, because I'm realistic enough to give somebody I don't like credit that they deserve. So bring that on and I will laugh you off. Just saying. Same thing with Ryback. I'm not a hypocrite. I still don't like Ryback. I think his push has been bullshit. I think the dominance that he's had over well-established guys in the company is complete crap. But he managed to put on a good match on Monday with a lot of help from Dolph Ziggler. So I will give him the credit for that in the realm of honesty, in the realm of giving credit where it's due, giving the devil his due. I will try to do that, because it is a goal of mine. I don't always hit it, but whatever. Cena... The one thing I'll say about the match that wasn't necessary was the Cena Conrana. Because, well, just no. But we do have Cena versus Rock at WrestleMania again. And am I excited about it? No. But it was inevitable. It was inevitable that the Golden Boy, who lost on the big stage last year, was going to... You know, they're pushing it as a redemption story. It's not a redemption story. Deluxe Man in his video is absolutely right. He can't buy it as a redemption story. It isn't a redemption story. But it is, you know, you knew WWE was going to come back and even the keel after Cena haters and Rock fans like myself got our scalp last year, like I've been saying all year. You knew that they were going to, you know, turn the tide back in his favor, give him the win, and find a way to put the belt back on him. I think it's funny that we got rid of the spinner belt just before Cena gets the belt back. That's kind of funny. And for those of you that like to talk about build and da-da-da-da-da, let's be honest, it wasn't built well. The build towards last year's WrestleMania match was shit. But you can't ignore the fact that this WrestleMania 29 match started 2 months before WrestleMania 27, when The Rock was announced as the host of WrestleMania 27 and cut his first promo on John Cena. Now, the build has been shit, but the build has been for over 2 years now, so we knew we were going to get this final blow-off match at some point. And here is something that is going to make a lot of people that are fans of mine, know how I think, know how I feel about most things, cringe a lot. John Cena's going to win this match. And I'm okay with that, because, guys, like I said, when we unveiled the belt, I said, you know, it's a 2-step process, and we've got the first step. We got rid of the one we didn't like. Now let's work towards what we do like. Now, in this case, we want to get the belt off The Rock. A lot of people want to. I'm a fan of The Rock. I've been a fan of The Rock for years. I've been a fan of The Rock since the formation of the Nation of Domination. I will admit I wasn't paying attention to him very much before that. Like I say, you know, it becomes cliche because I say it so much. Hand on heart, I wasn't paying attention to the guy very much before the Nation of Domination formed. But I've been a fan of The Rock since the Nation, since he was supposed to be Farouk's sidekick and overshone him by leaps and bounds, let's be honest. Fan of The Rock, he shouldn't have the belt. He should. I know all the monetary value and the business sense that it makes to have The Rock have the belt, but you know what? It can't always be about that. It can't. It just can't. The fact that some guy who's there twice a year is carrying the belt right now is insulting. The fact that he was the one that got to introduce the new belt instead of CM Punk, who had a phenomenal 430-something day run, is an insult. I will say that wholeheartedly. Now, you don't want a part-time guy to have it. You want somebody that deserves it to have it. Now, let's take care of the first part of that. We don't want a part-time guy to have it. That much will be achieved at WrestleMania. We want somebody that deserves it to have it. I guarantee you CM Punk will be right in Cena's face right after WrestleMania, and eventually CM Punk will win that belt. You saw him on Raw last week when the belt was unveiled toss the spinner belt down like the piece of trash that it was on John Cena, the piece of trash that he is, point right at The Rock and say, I want that one. And I guarantee you, within 2 months after WrestleMania, CM Punk will be wearing that belt. Oh, yes. So, do I know why the match is happening? Obviously. WWE likes to convince themselves that John Cena is still the biggest thing in wrestling. And they want to put the belt back on him. When you consider that The Rock, the part-time wrestler, the movie star / occasional wrestler, is the champion right now, it does make more sense for John Cena to have it. If those are the two options we are given, if the options are John Cena versus The Rock, it breaks my heart as a fan of the Attitude Era and as a praiser and almost, not being weird about this, but almost a worshiper of the Attitude Era. It pains me to admit this, but it has to be said. It makes more sense for John Cena to have that belt than The Rock. There, I said it. There is a situation created by the WWE where it makes sense for John Cena to hold the belt one more time. Now, do I want to get it off him as soon as possible? Dolph Ziggler, Daniel Bryan, CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, Wade Barrett. Hell, I'll take Sheamus at this point. But John Cena is at least representing the wrestlers that are there all the time, the wrestlers that are there as a constant. That is the level that I can accept it on. Not saying that I like John Cena, not turning tail, not turning my coat over, not turning over a new leaf, flipping a new coin. I'm not being a hypocrite. I'm just acknowledging the fact John Cena winning the belt from The Rock makes sense. If it had been the triple threat match that I wanted, with CM Punk being that third party, not a chance in hell. Not a chance in hell that either one of those people deserves the belt more than CM Punk. But because these are the options we are given, because of the reasons we're getting it, and because of the current situation that we're in, I guess you could say, I will say John Cena is by far the lesser of two evils. Still can't stand him. Still a fan of The Rock. Still think CM Punk deserves that belt. I can speak, I swear. But that's where we sit. That's where we sit. I'm sure I'm going to get hazed in the comment section for that, but it's just facts. It's just reality. And like I say, it's where we sit right now. The rumors are running rampant that Punk versus Taker is going to be a thing. Taker wasn't even on Raw this week. And here's another thing that I want to say. I mentioned before, Jericho wasn't on, hasn't been booked for anything. People are freaking out that Jericho wasn't on Raw. People are freaking out that Taker didn't come to Raw immediately after. Why are people buzzing me? See, this is what I put up with, guys, while I'm trying to make a video for you guys. I don't know why people are texting me at ridiculous o'clock in the morning, but whatever. People bitch that Jericho wasn't on Raw. People bitch that Rey Mysterio wasn't on Raw. People bitch that The Undertaker wasn't on Raw because, you know, he went to a house show in his home state, so he has to be on Raw because we expect him to be there because he owes us. No, didn't know you fuck all. We got build towards, we got a great opener, a great brawling opener, a fan-fucking-tastic main event that included John Cena. Again, it hurts me to say this, but I will not lie. We had a fantastic main event that went about 40 minutes. We had a fantastic brawl to start the show. We built towards Triple H versus Lesnar. We built both title matches. We sent all these other possibilities in motion on this one Raw, and you're gonna sit there, look at everything that WWE has given you so far, and shit on it because this guy, and this guy weren't there, because your guy wasn't there, because the guy that you think should have been there wasn't there, because the WWE thinks you owe you something. Fuck the hell off. Now, here is the last thing that I will say. As with every year, especially with WrestleMania, I get more opinionated than usual. I haven't done anything that matches the Scene Apocalypse videos I did last year. Those got me a lot of attention, admittedly enough. But, hey, there goes the lights. And there we go. The more I do road signs, the more I get opinionated, the more I get excited about WrestleMania just because other people aren't, the more arguments I get, the more spam I get on Twitter, the more, oh, you're a hater, you're a mark, you're a hater, you're a mark. Whereas the people that say I'm a hater are being marks, and the people that say I'm a mark are being haters. So we all do both. By the way, go fuck yourself. But I don't think the way other people think. I'm more excited than most people are. Everybody else is trying to pass this WrestleMania off as the worst WrestleMania ever, and I am the spawn of Satan because I disagree. To all the people, there's a lot of people that come to this channel that that like what I do, obviously, because, you know, I hit 420. I hit 420 subs, and I swore to myself when I hit 420 subs I was going to make an Evan Bourne joke, a Rey Mysterio joke, a Jack Swagger joke, da-da-da-da-da, just for all the people that bug me about Jeff Hardy, but that's another video altogether. I have 420 subs, though, in all seriousness, so that's 420 people that seem to think that I do a pretty damn good job. You know, I don't care if you agree with me. If you agree with me, great. But if you don't agree with me and you think that that's supposed to offend me, I want to show you something. This, and this is only symbolic because it's the only bucket I can think of at the moment. This is my fuck bucket. This is where I keep all my fucks. This is where I keep every single one of my fucks. Look at all those fucks. I don't give a single one of them about any of you that want to come and tell me that I'm a bad wrestling fan just because I don't agree with you. That makes you sound like Eon. That makes you sound like Off the Ropes Show. And those bitches ran scared from me. Oh yes, if you get any more retarded, I might have to call you all juggalos, and we really don't want to go there again. Do we? I'm having fun at WrestleMania. I'm having fun leading up to WrestleMania. If you're not, that's not my problem, is it? Just fucking saying. I've been Spaz, your YWC reality check. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation, keep all these conversations going. Tell me I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I dare you. Just saying. Don't be a stranger. I'll talk to each and every last one of you later, but for right now, I'm tagging out, guys. Bye.
Like me.